And with me in the studio today is Aaron McLeod, and he is talking to us about community and how we can help each other grow. Speaking of grow, Aaron, could you tell me more about your micro farming and community garden projects and how people can get involved in these activities?
Excellent, CC. Thank you for that. So CJAG is the manager with the Cairns Regional Council of the Manura Community Garden, and we manage that garden in accordance with the guidelines from the council. And what we've done is we came into the garden probably about 2 years approximately ago, and the garden was actually a bit overgrown. There was some volunteers down there that were struggling, and I was asked actually personally myself by one of the gardeners there to come down and give a hand. And so I turned up there, and sure enough there was a lot of work to be done, and I got a couple of our volunteers organised, and we went down and we cleaned it up, and we actually we recovered the garden. And as we were recovering the garden, we realised that all these garden beds were available, and we could grow food. So we thought, well, let's just create the Moody Creek Micro Farm Cooperative and encourage more people from the community to come down and grow food and to become part of the Micro Farm Cooperative idea. And since then, I think in the last 2 years, there's been about 28 people from the community that have come down and joined, and now we're growing food in the garden, and we've got enough food to not only feed the growers and their families, but there's some food left over. And well, we had a good problem to solve, and we thought, well, let's just create a market and invite the general public along and give them fresher than fresh food straight out of the ground. So that's what we do every 4 weeks. So the next Moody Creek Market is being held this weekend, actually. Well, in fact, this Sunday on the 2nd of August. So that's what we're doing down there, and it's as part of that microfarm program, we actually have what's called a stakeholder membership. Okay. So we're actually a little bit different to other community gardens around Cairns, as we understand it. We don't actually we don't sort of have a plot membership arrangement where someone comes along and gets a piece of dirt, you know what I mean, to grow, or gets a garden bed to grow their food, and that garden bed is their garden bed for as long as they pay their membership fee, you know, and they can sort of stay there. What we found with that system is that some people are not able to actually grow food as well as other people, and a lot of people coming into the garden just want to have connection. They want to start growing food, but their main purpose really and what they prefer to do is to just really come down, enjoy the garden space, and to connect with other people. So their focus is not actually growing food in that sense. So what we've done is we've created this stakeholder program so that people can actually get a stake in the garden. And it's a little bit of a funny joke thing because it's a word that's used actually in government circles quite a lot, you know what I mean? You're either a stakeholder, you know what I mean, of government, or you're not, you know. So yes. It's sort of become a little bit of a joke, you know, within the garden itself, you know, but within the membership, you know what I mean, within the community, saying, you know, what are we going to do? So we thought, well, let's just create a stakeholder, but it's not actually a stakeholder like the government scenario. All it is that members get a stake, which is basically a white picket, you know what I mean, cut off on the end with the white paint on it with their name on it. Yeah. And what's really good about that stakeholder membership is that we can actually move the stake into different parts of the garden so that we can actually respect the soil. Mm-hmm. So the garden is actually focused not so much on the person, absolutely, but it's focused on the asset of the garden or the resources of the garden, so that we can actually move the stake around and respect the soil and regenerate soil and give it a spell, you know, give it a rest from time to time. So we can then move the stake and that person can grow somewhere else in the garden, and then that soil then gets mulch and a lot of nutrients put onto that space so that we can regenerate the soil and get the worms and all the biomass, you know, happening again in that space, you know, so that it can produce wonderful food again. So we've designed the stakeholder program really to create sustainability, resilience and integrity within the garden space itself. So that's the stakeholder program as part of the Moody Creek Microfarm Cooperative.
That is really think great that people learn to grow their own food to feed themselves, as you know the prices of everything are going up.
Yeah.
So what kind of veggies and fruits do you grow in your garden? Tell me more. I'm intrigued.
Well, certainly pumpkins, of course. We've got oranges in season. So it depends on the season, but we're sort of in the winter months at the moment, so we're fortunate we can grow capsicums, and we can grow cucumbers and beans and a whole range of different foods. So I think that there's last count at the last market that we had about 28 varieties of different fresh foods that people can get access to. So there's plenty of greens and all of that sort of stuff, yummy stuff. Radishes, silver beet. Shallots, all of that sort of stuff. Of course, herbs as well, so there's plenty of those down there. We also have, of course, growers who are very smart and clever, and they use the food that they produce in the garden, and they actually go home and produce pickles and a whole range of other beautiful, yummy stuff, that they can bring back as well. So that's available as well at the market. So that's the stakeholder contribution to that. The market itself, if it's okay, if I've got time, CC, just to quickly touch on this, is that we're really looking for volunteers that are really, that have a passion and can produce art and craft, because while we have a stakeholder program for the growers, we actually have a stallholder program for the market.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
So many different ways to get involved.
Yeah, so many different ways to get involved. And then we have a third way, which is what's called the standholder program, and that's someone who's got knowledge, or an expert, or someone who's got a really cool experience in their lives, that they can come along and share education and knowledge. So they're called a standholder.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the stallholder is someone that produces a product, with their own hand, preferably. So that's part of the market program, and we'd like to expand the market as much as we can as a real true community-based village market environment, and at some stage in the future we'd love to have somebody who's a fashion guru, to help us to dress like somebody, back in the 17th or the 18th century, which is when the agrarian and the artisan culture, was still alive and well before the Industrial Revolution took over.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Okay,
so remind my listeners how we can find you.
Well, you can go onto CJAG's webpage, so it's CJAG, that's CJAG.org.au. You can go onto our website there, and you'll see a banner, an advertisement on the market program, and you can then register as a supporter there for free. Or you can become a member of CJAG in the first instance. Come along then to the garden. You can give us a call. There's a phone number on the website. We can arrange to meet people at the garden and give them a tour of the garden. There's a tour, of course, that occurs on market day. So come down on the 2nd of August would be the best time to get started and to introduce yourself, and then we can give you a tour of the garden. So that opens at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, 2nd of August.
Oh, well, I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
We're going to have some nice fresh veg. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and helping us to learn about your community organisation, because that's what we do here at Cairns FM. We connect communities. And thanks for dropping by. I really, really appreciate learning new things.
Thank you, CC.
All right, okay. I'm going to play you a song, Lost for Words, by Ronan Keating.